I'm Matt Atchity, editor-in-chief, RottenTomatoes.com. I'm here with Genesis Rodriguez and Kevin Smith, who are bringing us Tusk this year. Very exciting.
It sounds filthy when you say it, like they're bringing me Tusk.
They're bringing me Tusk. Exactly.
Very, very wise way.
Well, you know, we're not doing an episode of Adult Lady now. That was last night.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, there's great. All right.
I wore a thong, but
So did I. Wow, who knew?
ironically, she's wearing boxers. So
Yep.
we flipped it.
Yep.
That's how we do it in the 21st century, kids. Social media. Anyway, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very, very good, man. I had a panel last night. Genesis joined me. Haley, who went to the airport, he joined me. And we debuted the Tusk trailer, and it played very, very well. And then they put it up online like a moment later. And so all night long, I've just been reading reactions on Twitter and Facebook. And, you know, I'm a guy that's used to, I'm used to support, like heady support from a bunch of people who are very ardent. But in the world of the internet, 60% of that is like, you go, Kev, and 40% of that is like, you go to hell, Kev. So generally,
That's a good place to be.
Yeah, well, it's better than 50-50, but 60-40 is still nothing to build a reputation on. This time around, though, reading all the reaction to the trailer, I kept waiting for it. You know, I've got a pretty thick skin, so I was like, here comes the hate. And people seem to dig it. Even people who are normally like, he should go himself. They're like, ooh, walrus? All right. Like, you know, I'm somewhat in. So I was shocked by that. I really thought the movie, particularly the trailer, would be like more divisive with people being like, oh, that looks cool, and people being like, this looks like dog shit. But apparently it plays kind of well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brag.
Yay.
Genesis, how many cons is this for you?
This is the first.
First.
Yeah.
Was it anything close to what you expected?
It surpassed all my expectations. And then to come with him, it's like such a huge honor because he's the OG of Comic-Con. So.
To come with me is cool because if you stand behind me, you'll never be seen.
Oh,
whatsoever.
God.
It's very easy to hide behind. Tell them what your hair is.
It's Princess Leia Frida Kahlo.
How adorable is that?
Very nice. So you've not done a panel thing where you've seen a trailer before, and was that kind of a crazy new experience for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was shaking. I didn't know what to say.
Were you?
I was actually shaking, but I handled it,
Very
I
well.
guess. I hope.
It's
I was a
weird.
little too giddy.
You just come off of the trailer, so it was like
Yeah.
you'd taken a bunch of oxygen and weed, and so you're like, wee! And then you put you in front of a table in front of all those people. I thought you handled it well. Some cats like get out there, and that's a sea of humanity in Hall H. It's just like sitting in front of a football stadium. Well, I guess like a quarter of a football stadium worth of people, full of people. So, you know, if you look out and concentrate on it, it'd freak you out. So I just kind of pick a spot, usually the Q&A person, and just focus on them, forget the rest.
And
But the
they're
first
so-
moment out.
Oh man, it's just
scary.
one little itty bitty person in a spotlight and like little heads. It's very freaky.
Yeah.
Now, for those that aren't familiar with the story of Tusk, this is about a guy who has a podcast,
Yeah.
who goes on a journey. Is this based on like a nightmare you had?
No, it's based on a podcast. We did an episode of Smodcast 259, and me and Scott Mosier, who I had to do Smodcast with, we were talking about this thing that ran on the internet. Everyone saw it like last year. A guy saying, I'll give you a room for rent in my house. You just have to dress up like a walrus once a day. And, you know, it captured a lot of people's imagination, got spread around. It went up on a British website called gumtree.uk. And so we talked about it on Smodcast and had a blast with it, and then started making this impromptu little horror movie out of it, going like, oh, you're going to get there. This guy's going to bash you over the head. He's going to sew you in the suit, and you're going to become like the human walrus, like a cuddlier version of the human centipede. And so you can hear in the episode, we're just goofing around and stuff, but at a certain point, Mosier continues goofing, and I start going like, I want to see this movie. And then you can hear me get sad that I'm like, nobody's ever going to make this movie. And then you can hear me go like, oh my God, I was a filmmaker. I could make this movie. And then suddenly I talk myself into it. So by the end of the podcast, I was like, go to Twitter and vote Walrus yes if you think it's a good idea, and Walrus no if you think I'm just too stoned. And so the next morning, it was like a sea of walrus yes, and there was one walrus no. There was a guy who was like, for the democratic process alone, I feel I should say walrus no. So he was kind of even half into it as well. So at that point, I was like, all right, there are enough people that would want to watch that. Like, I'm not high. I am, but I'm not that high. Like, I'm still manageable and whatnot. It's not rehab time. So I started writing instead, and boom, Tusk happened.
I'm excited about the idea of you making a movie that you would want to see. I love it when filmmakers do that.
That's what it came down to, dude. Like the only reason I went forward with it because it is kind of a dopey idea. That's why I wouldn't be offended if people are like, this is fucking stupid, I'd be like, isn't it? And if people were like, this is brilliant, I'd be like, isn't it? It just works both sides of the coin, man. It's just such a stupid fucking idea, and it turned into a pretty cool movie because the talent. Like, we had everybody involved. They were earnestly involved. Same way I got to it by, like, back in the day with Clerks. The only reason I made Clerks is because I loved movies. I was getting into independent cinema, and I was like, man, I never see me and my friends represented. It'd be so nice to see me and my friends, not necessarily us personally, but our points of view and whatnot, the things we laugh about up on screen. And it got to a point where I was like, nobody's ever going to make that movie about you and your friends. You just go make it. And so, boom, that kick-started everything. And then I have a whole career to show for it and stuff. And everything I've done came from that decision. So in the middle of that podcast, I had that kind of moment again where I was like sad that nobody was going to make this stupid movie that I suddenly really wanted to see. And then I was like, you were a filmmaker, jackass. You could possibly pull this off. So I brought it up, and I start going after it, and not like ardently with some sort of Chautauqua of like, hell be damned, we're doing this. It was really like just stoner friendly, man. Like, stoners are like, let's give it a shot. You know, if it doesn't work out, doesn't matter. And tomorrow's another day, all those things and stuff. So every day I just pushed whimsy a little bit just to see how far it can go. I was like, let me see if people are interested. People were interested. I was like, let me see if I could write a few pages. Wrote a few pages, gave it to my wife. She was like, finish this. This is better than that Jay and Silly Bob crap. I was like, all right. So went back, finished the script. People were into it. I was like, let me see if I can get some money. Found money relatively quickly. Things came together. So within 6 months from the moment we recorded the podcast, I was standing on a set with Genesis going, action, and she's staring at Justin Long, and he's dressed like a walrus. Like, it was weird. It happened very organically, but it happens because people joined in the kind of like, what does that look like? Like, if it had been any other animal, I think most people would be like, you're an idiot. But I think it was because of a walrus. It just stops you long enough. You want to go, you're an idiot. A walrus, you say, you know, and suddenly it just catches you because you're like, how do you turn a person into a walrus? And it's pretty easy. We show you in the movie very quickly, too. The trailer is very artsy. It makes you think like it's in his mind or something like that. It could go either way. That. We flat out, about 40 minutes in, you will see Justin Long as a walrus, and it will bend your mind. You'll be like, why did they do this? Just like Justin on set was like, why did I do this? He was brave, man. He had representation who told him, like, don't do this. Like, number one, don't work with Kevin, and number two, you're already the Apple guy. Don't become the walrus guy. And Justin was like, you know what? It scares me. I want to try it. And so, boom, he jumped in. Genesis, same thing, was kind of like, it's weird. You read it at night. Tell him.
Yeah, I read it at 1 a.m. and I couldn't go to sleep. I heard the podcast afterwards, and then I had like Fleetwood Mac on repeat. It was just like I got obsessed with the idea, and I started writing emails to everyone. What do I do? What tape do I send? I don't know. And
So you sought out your participation.
I just said, I need to be in this fucking movie. Can you just please send that to Kevin? Just the email, please. What do I do? And so, he just said, all right, bring her in.
Great. She came in, and boy, did she deliver, man. But that's what it was like. A bunch of people just got involved, and nobody got paid. It's like $2.5 million movie. So everyone's there because they're like, I just want to see what this would look like. More curiosity. Even curiosity, like, I just want to be there if this explodes. It'd be amazing. But a lot of like, let's see if this works. And you get enough people together who are like, let's see if this works, man. You can do something kind of unique.
Well, I'm excited to see it. I know I have to let you go. One really quick question. Is there anything in particular you're really geeked out to see while you're here at the con?
I don't know, everything. I need to see DC. I need to go to DC right now, like at 12. I need to go there and see this.
The full bat suit.
I need to see
Yesterday it was just
that.
cowl and cape, and now you can see the whole costume today. They put it on the floor. That's
Well, I know if I ask you that question, we'll be here for 3 hours.
I know. I'll start talking about that. There are so many things that I want to see, but what I'm hoping to see is tonight on the stage at Hall H, like Warner Brothers does their presentation. And so far, the word is like, no, we're not doing anything for Batman, Superman.
Uh-huh.
Number one, I can't believe that. I can't believe they passed the opportunity to put the Trinity up there. You can put Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman on the stage at the same time for the first time ever. And even though that's 3 people as opposed to all the Avengers, that is the equivalent of the Avengers shot.
Right. It's the power trio.
If they don't do that, man, like I'm certainly going to still go see the movie a couple thousand times, but I'll be insanely disappointed, man, because then they're just handing the crown back to Joss Whedon, who I'm sure is going to jump up with Avengers 2 footage, show us some Ultron, and own Comic-Con, be the king of Comic-Con, because sadly...
Right. We want to see a throwdown between the two teams.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the DC Warner Brothers chance to be like, look at our big movie and put those 3 characters out there. So that's what I'm hoping.
All right. On that note, I have to let you guys go, but thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the con. Thanks.
Thank you.